Hey guys, welcome back. Dave again. So this time I thought we'd talk about something I think it's pretty exciting. I think it could be kind of cool. It's definitely going to solve a huge problem for a lot of people, at least if it comes to fruition, but it's looking like it's a good path. So what am I rambling on about? So basically we're talking about right to repair. So how many of you guys have bought something, relatively expensive or expensive and then had it break, earlier than you think it should have? So, it's something you could probably repair if you knew how, if you had access to the tools or to, the materials you needed to fix that. So, I know in my circle, there's a lot of us that joke, it's just a throwaway sort of economy anymore. So if something breaks, you just get rid of it and you get a new one just because it's so cheap. It wasn't like that for our grandparents. My grandfather fixed everything, held on to everything for forever. I think we've gotten away from that in this society, and I think a lot of that's by design. A lot of these large manufacturers want us buying new products every 2 years to just keep things moving along. Think about, your iPhone breaks. How do you fix that? You don't. You basically get rid of it and you get a new phone. So, and if we look at the stats, only about 40% of electrical devices that once they break actually get repaired. The other 60% just go in the trash or into the landfill, stack up, and then nothing ever gets done with them, or they go into some random drawer. I can't tell you how many drawers I have full of crap. But basically, not a huge deal when it's just an iPhone. I say that, it still hurts. A $1,200 iPhone, when it breaks and you have to go buy a new one, hurts. But when it's an $800,000 farm tractor that you're being forced to get rid of, I think that's a whole different ball of wax and a whole different level of pain. And that's what's happening to America's farmers. So these guys, basically, when you look at, and I'm going to single out John Deere here, because based on my research, they're the ones that seem to be the most egregious at this. So they make you sign what are called EULAs. So those are extended use license agreements. And basically what this does is it then lets the manufacturer say that you don't own the tractor, you just have a license to be able to use the tractor. So it also lets them do a couple of other things. So one of the other things it lets them do is it makes you use third-party contractors to do any repairs on the tractor. So back to my grandfather, we had a small farm. When his tractor would break, he'd be out there wrenching on it, fixing it, getting it up and running again. So the guys today, when they buy these tractors, they have to use these third-party contractors, and they cost roughly $150 an hour to come out and fix these tractors. That doesn't count the downtime while the tractor sits in the field because you're trying to get it scheduled with one of these cats to come out to wrench on your tractor. And a lot of times they're easy fixes. They're little sensors that go bad, or just small components that aren't overall that expensive but shut the whole thing down, the whole operation. But this guy has to come out with his special diagnostic software, his proprietary adapter that plugs into this thing to figure out what it is that's wrong. The tractor will output the code, tell him, he looks it up, and then he goes ahead and replaces that sensor. This is the large majority of problems these days. So what America's farmers are doing is they're advocating for the right to be able to repair their own tractors. And I don't think that's an unreasonable request. We saw this with cars back in the day. So cars started to get prohibitively complicated. Everything was proprietary. You couldn't fix your own car. So legislation came through and it allowed your average guy to be able to fix his own car. That's when you started to see manuals and, ODPC2 connectors and all that kind of stuff. The little computer that you get that you can shove up underneath your dashboard, connect into, and it'll tell you the error code and you can go look that code up. That's all thanks to this law. So tractor owners, farm guys, are looking for the same right. And I think it's completely reasonable. So back in September of 2018, John Deere and a bunch of the other big manufacturers got together and said, via basically, I think it was the California Growers, don't quote me on that, it was a California trade association that represents tractor manufacturers. But they got together and they said, hey, look, we're going to put out manuals, tools, software. We'll give you what you need to repair your tractors by January 1st, 2021. So give us 3 years to get it all together and we'll roll it out. So here we are, April 2021, nothing's come out. Basically, farmers have been lied to by John Deere and a lot of these other large manufacturers. So I think that's really, I don't want to say shitty, but it's really shitty. So basically, what's going on now and how's this going to get better. And this is actually really, really exciting. So almost half of all US states have some form of right to repair bill on the books. So they're, well, not on the books, but they're passing through the legislature as we speak. So some examples, let me give you. So in Arkansas, farm equipment, there's a bill there that's talking about being able to let farmers, go in and repair their own machinery. And I'll put links down in the description for the ones that I have. In Oregon, they have one working their way through the legislature for consumer electronics. So next, in California, we have one for medical equipment. So there was a big hubbub in California over ventilators. Ventilators were breaking. Hospitals didn't want to bring in third-party contractors because they wanted to protect their own people. I completely get it. Nebraska is another one that's looking at farm equipment. And then the big win here so far is Massachusetts. So Massachusetts actually passed an automotive right to repair bill. And that one, it's an expansion on the current automotive bill, but it ties into wireless equipment within cars. So they're expanding the scope of the automotive bills, which is great. And then there's another good piece of legislation that went through. Now, this isn't an American piece of legislation. So this went down in France. So back on January 1st, 2021, France put through the anti-waste bill for a circular economy. Basically, it's a repairability scorecard. So what it does is every manufacturer with regard to electronic equipment needs to give a repairability score to their equipment. So when you look at the price, and here I'll pull up this French website for you right here. You can take a look and you can see it. So basically what it is, you have the price up here, and then down here you have this little 6 out of 10 for this particular iPhone. So basically, now, not perfect. The manufacturer creates the repairability score, and there's a few little ways to game it, software updates, making availability to those and whatnot. But it's a good start. So in this case, if we take and we look at this particular iPhone, the year before it had a 4.5 score. This year it has a 6, and that improvement centered around it's now easier to take apart and you can access it, let's say, to get to the battery or whatnot. Not as many proprietary fasteners. It's not glued together. So in this repairability scorecard, manufacturers get extra points for the battery not being glued into the device. So it's actually able to be removed. That'll raise your score. So you have to think that if you're at the store or you're online and you're looking between two different phones, and one has a comparability or a repairability score of 3, and the other one has a repairability score of 8. You know that repairability 8 score phone, you can make last a lot longer. You have a lot more value there. You're going to pick the one for 8. So a lot of manufacturers are really jumping on board here and trying to get these scores up. To give you an example, Samsung came out and put out all of their service and repair manuals for all of their phones. Now they're in French, so if you speak French, you can get that now if you have a Samsung. But those manuals are out there, and it greatly improved their score. It took a lot of them up closer to 8. So, they're getting in and they're playing with this, and it's great to see because traditionally that's been the manufacturer's counter argument is, it gives away our trade secrets. It makes us less competitive. I don't really think that's true. You've already got patents. All of your key technology is already out in the public and released for, public consumption. So I think that's sort of a hollow narrative. I'm really proud of France to see them taking these steps like this to introduce this law, to get this out there. I really hope it's something that, America gets on board for. Think about how much better it would be, like if you could fix everything. So, I'm hoping this comes along. I'm hoping this guys gives you a little bit of hope. It's a Monday. I'm trying to push out some good vibes. If you live in one of these states, write your congressman. I say that a lot on here. They're the guys that really make the change, but the voices come from you guys. It seems like the first hard step's been done. The bills have been written and they've been submitted. And like I said, I'll put links to every bill that I can find down there. I'm sure I won't get them all, but I'll do my best. And write these guys. Let these guys know that it's something that you want. I think whether you're Republican or Democrat, you can really, really get on board for this. It's something that benefits everybody. It shouldn't be hard for these manufacturers to do. Let's Let's get after these corporations and make sure that they're taking care of us, like instead of gouging us. And right now I really do feel like they're gouging us. So many phones break and you can't repair them. My last phone had a battery I could pull out and replace, and it was great. Battery went bad. I put a new battery in it and I got an extra year and a half out of that phone. This new phone, the battery's glued in. I can't fix it if the battery goes bad, which is really disheartening. So let's get back to the America that we used to be. Let's get back to the way that it used to be, that people understood the items that they had, the devices that they had, your appliances. Like, I mean, appliances would be huge in this. How many times has your appliance broken and you can't fix it? You know, I think when you couple this with and we'll talk about this in a future video, you know, the ability to 3D print parts, I think the repair at home is just going to grow and expand, but we need this to pass first. And I need you guys to help write in and get this done. If nothing else, do it for the farmers. Write in and support the farmer bill to right to repair on their tractors. I'll also throw down in the bottom of in the links there for the references that I always put in. I'll throw a link into ifixit.com. It's a great website that I found along the way, having a bunch of rentals to be able to fix some of this stuff. You can usually put in the product number or the serial number, and it'll help. They have a few manuals and they have a few documents out there to help you with some of this kind of stuff. And it'll give you some insight into sort of what we're advocating for here with this right to repair. You know, get in, take a look at that. Maybe you have a broken appliance at home. Maybe it helps you in the future. Just bookmark it, come around to it. It's a great website. These guys are really pushing to help us with this right to repair. So hopefully you guys are excited about right to repair. Hopefully I got you jazzed up about that one on this Monday. It's a little cold and it's a little snowy here. But yeah, we're getting after it. This is great news. Proud of France. Thanks for leading the way on this one. This was something I'm definitely excited to hear about. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.